With the year coming to an end, one of the remaining UFC cards is UFC Fight Night 216, which will be headlined by two premier middleweights in Cannonier and Sean Strickland.
Another jab. Oh, good 1-2 on that one, Allen. Strickland trying to end it.
Not only is this a personality clash, as both of the two are most of the unique figures in MMA,
I have power over the entire universe,
but they are both stylistically unique as well. Both fighters are potentially a big, impressive win away from being back in the title picture, so the stakes are high for this one. So we're going to take a deeper look at the upcoming middleweight fight. Cannonier. Known as the Killer Gorilla, Cannonier has become a mainstay in the middleweight division in recent years. He holds a record of 15-6 with 12 finishes and, uniquely enough, made his UFC debut as a heavyweight. However, after a 1-1 start in the heavyweight division, Cannonier tried his luck at 205 before finding his home in the middleweight division back in 2018.
So meaning, Cannonier! Branch forced to cover up!
His middleweight debut immediately ushered him as a potential title challenger, as viciously KO'd David Branch in the second round. After which, he got the middleweight GOAT Anderson Silva on his record, defeating him via a leg kick TKO before beating Jack Hermansson in front of his hometown fans in Denmark. Now, although he stumbled a bit against the always great Robert Whittaker, the Killer Gorilla bounced back with an impressive win over Kelvin Gastelum, and then another TKO finish over Derek Brunson, before challenging for the middleweight gold against Israel Adesanya. However, Cannonier came up short, but he did do well, not taking much damage from Stylebender, which speaks to Cannonier's defense. In his time with the UFC, Cannonier has racked up 4 Performance of the Night bonuses and 1 Fight of the Night bonus, and he will look to add another bonus when he takes on the dangerous and unorthodox Sean Strickland on December 17th. Sean Strickland. Now, Strickland couldn't be more polar opposite than Cannonier if he tried. Not only does he have a very much different style of fighting, but their personalities are on the opposite end of the spectrum.
I'm getting to a point where I could say shit and not get cut from the UFC.
Which makes this fight pretty intriguing for most people. Where Strickland has outlandish opinions and can't help but say the wrong thing all of the time, Cannonier is more stoic and keeps to himself and his crystals. But one similarity that these two have is that they love to punch other people in the face. Strickland comes into the fight with a 25-4 record with 14 finishes and 11 decision wins. So despite Strickland's love for fighting, he is not reckless. He often looks to put on a high pace and pressure on his opponents while racking up the counting stats with constant but not as powerful strikes. Now, before his last loss, Strickland was on one of the longest winning streaks in the middleweight division, which went back to 2018. He had tallied up 6 wins in a row before coming across Alex Pereira and his patented left hook. So Strickland will look to get started on another winning streak, as he was just 1 win away from challenging for the title. But before he can set his eyes on UFC gold, he will have to get through the Killer Gorilla. So let's see who holds the edge and with which criteria. Striking. Now, both Strickland and Cannonier are known for their stand-up. However, the way they use their striking is very different. Cannonier is more reserved, biding his time as he lands power single strikes and then exploding in for a dangerous combination. Meanwhile, Strickland marches forward, standing almost straight with his hands near his chest rather than his chin. But this then allows him to rifle out jabs and straight rights constantly, which is why Strickland has one of the largest strikes landed per minute margin in the UFC with nearly 6 strikes. Cannonier is more reserved with his output, but still manages to land 3.73 strikes per minute. However, Cannonier is more accurate when he strikes because he is more patient and will wait for his moment, while Strickland wants to overwhelm you with his volume. But although Strickland is good at dishing it out, his forward pressure style also leaves him open for counters. He absorbs up to 4 strikes per minute. Surprisingly, Cannonier isn't too far behind, as he absorbs 3.5 strikes per minute. So Cannonier almost has a 1-to-1 ratio of strikes landed and absorbed. But the difference really is in the type of strikes both dish out. For example, in a 5-round contest against Jack Hermansson, Strickland landed 161 strikes, with 125 of them being to the head. While in his loss against Stylebender, Cannonier landed 141 strikes, with 36 being headshots, 32 being body blows, and 22 being leg kicks. So Cannonier has a much more diverse striking package compared to Strickland's boxing heavy head attacks. Cannonier also has a lot more power in his strikes, where if he lands clean, he will rock his opponents, while Strickland relies on his volume striking to wear down his opponents. However, an interesting note is that Cannonier does get tagged to the head a lot more than his body, which could be a big factor in this fight. But still, we would rather give that striking edge to the Killa Gorilla because of his power and diversity. Grappling. As mentioned before, if it is up to Cannonier and Strickland, they would much rather fight it out on their feet. This was especially evident in Strickland's last fight where he fought a kickboxing champion and decided to strike with him. But still, this is an MMA fight, so we could see a better game plan from Strickland because Cannonier hardly ever wrestles. Instead, he uses his 65% takedown defense to keep the fight standing and land his knockout blows. While Strickland is known for clinching and grappling a lot more as he averages 1.14 takedowns per 15 minutes, this is slightly lower than the UFC average, but he's often successful in his takedown attempts as he has a 61% accuracy. So if there is someone who will pursue the wrestling route and perhaps attempt to zap at their opponent's gas tank, it would be Strickland. So for that reason, we're going to give the wrestling edge to him. But it will be interesting to see if Strickland actually displays his entire MMA game this time. X Factor. Okay, so first, let's start off with Jared Cannonier. When it comes to his X Factor, it has to be his power. There is a reason why someone as skilled as Stylebender was cautious trading strikes for a long period of time with Cannonier. If Cannonier lands on you cleanly, you will be in trouble. And seeing the way that Strickland walked into Alex Pereira's power in his last fight, we could still see that happening once again. While for Strickland, his X Factor is his wrestling. If Strickland can mix his wrestling in with his pressure style of fighting, he could have Cannonier playing catch-up on the judges' scorecards. Plus, wrestling is a great way to take some of that power away from Cannonier as well, so we will see if Strickland is ready to use his entire MMA skill set. Prediction? Well, the official fight odds have not been announced yet, but if we did have to guess, this is probably a pick'em. Either that or Cannonier is slightly favored as he's fought better competition and is coming off of a loss in a title fight. Where as far as our prediction is concerned, if Cannonier can stay patient, mix up his strikes, and attack Strickland's body and legs so he can set up a combo as Strickland comes in, we could see Cannonier hurting Strickland and finishing him in the first couple of rounds. While for Strickland, he should try his best to stay away from Cannonier's power early on, so movement and wrestling would be key. But despite that, he does have a very accurate jab and right hand, and we could see Strickland overwhelming Cannonier with his pitter-patter shots that are mixed in with grappling exchanges, as Strickland gets ahead on the judges' scorecards and wins by decision. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell beside it so that you're notified the next time we upload a brand new video. And with that being said, you just watched us break down the upcoming middleweight main event between Jared Cannonier and Sean Strickland. We'll see you next time.